Hey everybody, and welcome to The Breakthrough Effect. I'm your host, Jerrid. I've had two successful careers. First, I was an award-winning TV meteorologist, and then a financial marketing strategist. I was living the dream, making good money, but inside I was craving for something more, something bigger. So I stopped deferring life and I started creating exactly the life I was searching for. I doubled down on unlearning old mindsets and creating big breakthroughs for me and my family. And now I'm bringing that same transformation to you. Let's understand the rules of this game. Let's get clarity. Let's stop chasing and start becoming. This is The Breakthrough Effect. All right, so here we are, the very first podcast of 2026, the very first episode of The Breakthrough Effect of the new year. Whether you're listening to this at the start of the new year or not, we are so glad that you're joining us here today. By the way, make sure you like and subscribe, leave a positive rating and review, share this with somebody, especially on social media. I would really appreciate you helping me get this word out about how to have breakthrough in your life. Well, since it's the beginning of the year, everybody's talking about resolutions. They're talking about big goals. They're talking about roadmaps. They're talking about manifesting. And I want to talk to you something that's deeper than that. How do you actually architect your breakthrough? You know, I always ask people, how much control do you think that you have over your own future? Do you think you get a say in how your future transpires? I rest on the laurels that I believe that we have more control than what we have been led to believe, but at the very same time, our lives are much more choreographed than probably, what we even fully understand, especially on this side. So I'm going to talk about two specific equations. One I've talked about a little bit in the past. We're going to do a little revision of that, and then I'm going to give you a new one, and hopefully this gives you a new perspective, because one thing about getting what you want out of life, and there's another about becoming someone who can actually receive it. And as I grow in this personal development journey that I'm currently on, I am realizing that I can receive a heck of a lot more than I could ever create with my hands. If I live in this physical, logical world, it is a one-to-one equation, matter to matter. But is there a way to kind of open up the supernatural, so to speak? I mean, I don't want to get crazy and weird on you, but is there a way to tap in to the unseen where we can create luck, opportunities, doors, growth, and expansion that goes beyond our logic? And I think that there is. The very first equation I talked about a couple of weeks ago, but I want to bring it up here again, is the breakthrough equation. It's made up of three distinct pieces: desire, belief, and subtracting attachment to outcome. Let's go through each of these really quickly. The very first piece is desire. This is where a lot of high achievers, including myself, people who are wired really high frequency, we're doers. We typically don't struggle in this area. We want it. We want it bad. We get obsessed over stuff. We work ourselves to the bone. Working 50, 60, 80 hours, especially when you're building something like a business, doesn't come difficult. Like, we're the ones up at 4 a.m. working on stuff, throughout the night when we shouldn't. This type of sacrifice is not the problem. The problem was when you downplay your desire, thinking that you're actually trying to be like some spiritual, on some spiritual quest, right? So a lot of people will downplay their attachment to outcome by actually downplaying their desire, and it doesn't really work that way, all right? So the very first thing I want you to understand is that I want you to have a burning desire. If you don't have a burning desire for more and for more growth, I would ask you to pray, meditate, whatever, but find that hunger. Nothing comes without desperately wanting and fueling a burning desire for more. The second part is belief. Now, there are three sides to the belief coin. There's belief in your cause, belief in your service, in what you are doing, what you are building, belief in that your superpower is showing up in this world and making a difference, a belief that what you are doing matters. The other part is belief in yourself. Are you the right person? Do you have the capability? Are you chosen to bring this type of service, value to the world? And the third part of this, which I didn't talk about last time, is belief that you actually deserve it. There's a lot of people who want more, but there is some limiting belief deep inside where they believe that they're not worthy, and therefore they don't really believe that they deserve the desires of their hearts. And this can be a massive hang-up from opening up and manufacturing and architecturing your own breakthrough, because your world will only give you what you think that you deserve. And if you believe that you're not worthy, that outcome will not come to fruition. So we have desire plus belief. And this third part is usually the hardest one, especially for high achievers. And this is where we subtract the attachment to the outcome. This is where many of us hit a wall. We will work and work and work. We will have belief, but yet we will still be attached to the outcome. And this throws off the spiritual circuitry at play. All right. Let me take a time out for a second. There's a technology at play when you understand these frameworks, and the doing is part of it. The believing is part of it. The masculine energy, yes. The obsessive aligned action, 100%. The work, yes. All of these things need to be part of it. But there then needs to be this element of release, this element of surrender, this element of receiving. That's the feminine energy. I'm not going to get too weird on you, but there's definitely both at play. And if you are too heavily leaned one direction, again, it throws off the circuitry. You have to want it desperately. I want you to want it all. I want you to want everything. In fact, I think it's almost spiritually possible when we don't want it all. God wants to give you everything. He doesn't just want to give you a little bit. He doesn't want to give you some crumbs here. He doesn't kind of want to fix your marriage. He doesn't kind of want to give you slightly better health. He doesn't want to 2x your income. He doesn't even just want to 10x your income. He wants to give you everything. So I want you to desire everything. But at the very same time, I want you to not need any of it. Now, that doesn't sound like I don't care anymore. That doesn't sound like I'm doing everything in my power and I'm just like whatever happens, happens. It means that I want it, but I don't need it. Why does this matter? When you are gripped by the need for it to happen your way, on your timeline, operating by your set of rules exactly the way that you want it, you are operating from a place of need, from a place of fear, from a place of lack and scarcity. And these will be the very same reasons why you will essentially sabotage your own ability to receive. That's why this third part is so important. So remember, desire plus belief minus attachment. Now, the second equation that I want to talk about with you today is what I would call the wholeness equation, or perhaps the happiness equation. Is there a mathematical equation to happiness and fulfillment in life? And I think that there is. And it's very simply, it goes like this. It's what you have divided by what you think you need, right? So think of a fraction. Go back to high school, and think of middle school or ninth grade mathematics, right? You've got an equation. X equals a fraction, I over Z, right? The top of that fraction is what you have, all of your assets, all of your money, your income, your cash flow, your business, your success, your Instagram followers, right? Your community. It goes down to your relationships, the intimacy in your marriage, the intimacy with your kids, your physical life, your physical health, right? All of it. It's all of what you have in your life divided by what you think that you need. And the key word there is what you think that you need. Now, if you know anything about mathematics, you can increase the value of this equation, of this fraction, one of two ways. You can increase the top number, the numerator. All right. You can increase what you have more of. By the way, I want you to desire to have more, right? And this is one way to do it. We can have more money, more followers, more achievements, more success, more possessions, right? The only problem with that is that there is no finish line, as you know. I mean, for those of us who haven't achieved everything in this world, we know people who have way more than we do, and they all kind of say the same thing. As soon as you get more, you want more, all right? It's been coined the hedonic treadmill. In many books, many authors have talked about this, where it's the ever-moving goalpost. So you're right, you can have more. And in some respects, that does bring more happiness and fulfillment and wholeness. But there's a better way, right? Instead of ever increasing the top number, you can decrease the bottom number. You can decrease the denominator. Instead of getting more and having more, you can release the need for more, meaning you can take your need for more down as low as you can. You don't downplay your ambitions. You don't downplay your desire. You still want that with burning desire, but you release the grip on needing them to be happy. Now, again, if you know anything about mathematics, I don't want to brag here, but I almost have a math minor because I studied physics and meteorology in college. So basically by default, I have a math minor. It's taken a lot of calculus and physics, right? As the denominator of a fraction gets smaller, the value of that fraction grows larger. Okay? When that denominator reaches 1-to-1 ratio, but when it gets closer to 0, the value of that fraction goes up. And in fact, anything divided by 0 is undefined, or what we would say in mathematics, infinite. You can have infinite happiness, wholeness, and fulfillment, not necessarily by having more, but from needing and releasing the need for more. This is where the paradox comes into play. When that denominator reaches 0, you become whole. You're complete. Not because you have everything, it's because you stopped needing everything. Now, hard stop. A lot of people will say at this point, if I don't need anything more, if I'm fully whole, won't that kill my drive and my desire to build more? And here is my answer or rebuttal to that. I believe is that when we become fully whole, that actually creates the opposite, meaning it actually increases our desire, actually throws fuel on the fire of desiring and wanting more. Because listen to me very carefully, when you are fully whole, you are no longer operating from need. You are operating from essence. Essence of what? Essence of who you actually are. It fully connects you to your soul. You're not doing it for external validation. You're doing it because it's the true nature of the Creator himself, which, by the way, is your nature. That's you at your deepest level. So when you become whole, meaning you drop the denominator of that equation down to 0, you resonate with your own soul and your Creator. And that, my friends, is exactly how you achieve more. It's how you do more. And most importantly, listen to me closely, it's how you receive more. And it's coming from abundance, not scarcity, from wholeness, not desperation. And so that's why I'm so passionate about this message, about teaching you how to become more and chase less. Become the person you were supposed to be, become whole, and then you receive it. You don't have to chase it. So that's what this year means to me. In those moments when I am afraid, which if you know me, I talk about this a lot, 3:00 in the morning, that's when my biggest fears seem to bubble up in my mind. But if I can remind myself in those late night hours, the early morning hours before anybody's up, before that sun is up, that I am indeed whole, I need nothing, I have everything already, more in my life doesn't complete me. I want it, but it doesn't complete who I am. It creates the atmosphere to actually receive and for the breakthrough to come. I want you to work with desire. I want you to build your belief, but release every need or control the outcome. Don't need it, and it doesn't have to happen in your way. The wholeness equation. Stop chasing more, become whole, and watch what you're able to create and more so receive from that posture. This year in 2026, I want you to ask yourself, where am I gripping? Where am I attached? Where am I operating from need instead of wholeness? Because that's where your breakthrough is waiting. Here's to a fabulous and a momentous 2026.
If this conversation sparked something in you, don't let it fade. Please rate, review, and subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform.
Don't forget to connect with me online as well. Follow me at Jerrid Sebesta on Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube, or dive deeper at my website, jerridsebesta.com, where all my free trainings and resources are waiting for you. And remember, stop chasing the life you want and start becoming. This is the Breakthrough Effect. We'll see you next time.